And she had a table near the door with a statue of Kuan Yin Pusat on it. And the table went like this, and the statue fell off, and the head came off. Amitabha! And she was so frightened that as a result of knocking the head off Kuan Yin, that she was going to meet with all sorts of disasters, all sorts of problems. That's how terrified she was. Later on, when I was talking to her, she told me that several years before, she had won the President's Prize as Businesswoman of the Year. Each year in Singapore, any woman who has been very successful in business or finance or something like that, they are given some sort of award, and she had won that award. So from this I could tell clearly she must be a very intelligent, hard-working, sensible woman. And yet, despite that, she thinks that because she's accidentally knocked the head off a statue of Kuan Yin, that terrible things are going to happen to her. So I calmed her down. It took some time because she was really frightened. I calmed her down by talking to her, and then I said, look, I'm a Ang Mo. I don't know, what is Kuan Yin? And she said, Goddess of Mercy. I said, Goddess of Mercy? So she's sort of very merciful, is that correct? Yeah. So, Goddess of Mercy, okay. So we call her the Bodhisattva of compassion. So you think, because of an accident, because of something that you didn't intend to do, that this Bodhisattva is going to punish you. How is that possible? Why would a compassionate being do that to you simply because of an accident? Oh yeah, okay. And then I said, do you believe in Kuan Yin Pusat? She said, yes, I worship every day. And I said, do you think that that statue is Kuan Yin Pusat? And she said, he never really thought about it. Whatever Kuan Yin is not a piece of porcelain or a piece of wood or a piece of plastic or anything like that. That's not Kuan Yin. It's not even a representation of Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin doesn't look anything. You think Kuan Yin looks like that? This is just a symbol. Now, it would be interesting to be like that, wouldn't it? You could work in a factory and do 50 different things with your hands. Scratch your head, and Kuan Yin doesn't look like this. This is a symbol of Kuan Yin. The Buddha doesn't look like that. God, I hope he doesn't look like that. These are just symbols. So symbols are important, but they are not that thing. So I calmed her down, and then she sort of felt okay. So energy, all this sort of thing, we should be, this is the 21st century. We should look more to science for the answers to these things rather than silly old people.
But when we talk to the people contra to vegetarians, he can give you even 1001 reason that vegetarian is not good.
Right.
But as human as we are, I feel, my opinion, we are in the middle of that. And sometimes we confuse which one is the right and which one is the correct and which one is the wrong. Even in the Buddhism, sometimes when you meet one guru, they said this is possible. And sometimes when you hear from another guru.
Right, so what's your question?
My question is, where is our position if we are in this situation, and what your advice to us, to me?
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you have life insurance?
Yes.
Okay. So, when you decided to get life insurance, there are lots of life insurance companies. How did you decide on the one that you picked in the end? What did you do? Did you just go, I'll pick this one? Or how did you make your decision to go with that company rather than this company or that company or another company?
Yeah. Of course, I will see my condition first, and maybe we hear from another.
Maybe a friend told you there was a good... Okay. So you asked others sometimes?
Yeah.
Yep. Anything else?
Maybe sometimes maybe we just know that's insurance, so we pick.
Did you get their policies and read them carefully and compare one with another?
Frankly speaking, no.
Okay. Do you think that would have been a good idea to do that?
Yes, I think.
Okay, righto. So, this is what I would say. When you're buying a car, when you're deciding whether you're going to have this person as your girlfriend and get married or not, what do? You make an assessment. You try to collect the evidence, you look at the different choices, you think about it carefully, you may ask your friends for their opinion, and you put all those things together, and then you try to make the best decision you can with the available evidence. You do that if you're going to buy a car. You do that if you're going to go on a holiday and you go to a travel agent. You look at the prices, you compare them, and you pick the one that seems to be best for you. Now, you might end up getting the wrong one. It may sometimes happen. But if you do that, you increase your chances of getting the best one. And I would say that if you do that for other things in your life, you should do that with questions about Buddhism or questions about vegetarianism. And in the case of vegetarianism, it may be that they're both right. Maybe some of the things the vegetarians say is a very good point. And sometimes some of the non-vegetarians say is a very good point too. You are an individual. You have to make your own decisions. Examine the evidence. Ask questions, look at both sides, and make the best judgment that you can. Now, nowadays, the internet is full of information, including really bad information. But it's up to you. The information is there. If it's an important subject, you should spend time carefully looking at the evidence and then make your decision. Now, in your case, when you got your insurance policy, you didn't even bother to read their information. So I tell you what, I'm selling some things right now and they're really good. Will you buy them from me?
As I said, it depends on my money in my wallet.
Okay, right. Okay. Anything else? There's somebody here, yeah.
Do you think things get better in the Vinaya practice among the monastic right now compared to when you first write or publish the book? And the second, I would like to hear your autocritic regarding the meditation practice. We know there's some revitalization of meditation practice all around the Buddhist countries. A lot of meditation center with their own tradition and methods.
Go on with it, yeah.
So I would like to hear your autocritics on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so what I wrote in that book, I can't see that there has been very much change, and I wouldn't expect very much change. I think one serious problem in Buddhism, in certain sections of the Sangha, is that they seem to be conducting a war against the modern world. That their idea seems to be that if we live exactly the same as they did at the time of the Buddha, that we will spiritually develop. Now, this is not only an idea that you get in Buddhism. I have heard that some other religions believe that you must dress the way they dressed in Saudi Arabia 1,000 years ago. You must speak the way they spoke then in those days. So this is not an idea unique to Buddhism. But let's just talk about Buddhism. So that seems to be the case. And I think that that's holding Buddhism back. And I don't think it contributes any way to developing spiritually. So in that sense, I don't see any change, which is unfortunate. About what? Well, this is a sort of a curious thing. You've read my book, so you know what I say. Monks have been using money for 2,400 years. I don't know, I know very, very few monks that don't use money. And that has always been the case. So occasionally I meet monks who make a big fuss about not using money, but I notice that they have a rich lady to drive them everywhere by car. They go first class because they've got somebody to buy the ticket for them. They go first class by aeroplane. They live in fabulous mansions. I mean, even here in Indonesia, I've seen some pretty nice hermitages. So they don't actually physically touch the money, but they have an accountant who does it all for them. I know monks, I won't mention any names, who have built very big monasteries in other countries. They've got very serious financial obligations to pay off the building costs and everything. So they travel the world giving talks, mainly to collect money, which they do not touch, but they let all their disciples do that for them. So I think this is a little bit hypocritical. Now, if you're not going to touch money, okay, I got no problems with that, but don't have anything to do with money. If it's simply a matter of touching your hand, I think this is nonsense, quite honestly. Enough of that. And the second question was something about meditation. Oh, you like criticism, do you? Good, right, eh? First thing is, the Buddha did not teach the Noble One-Fold Path. He taught the Noble Eightfold Path, of which one is meditation. Is meditation important? Yes, it's very, very important. Is it the be-all and the end-all of Buddhism? No, it's one of 8 parts. It's probably the most important single part, but there's more to Buddhism than meditation. I notice that some meditation teachers, they're always telling people, you know, you've got to become a sotapanna. Yeah. Which stage are you up to yet, you know? And I meet meditators who have got performance anxiety. Do you know what that is? Do you know what performance anxiety is? That is, people are nervous that they're not progressing. And I've noticed meditators like this. Now look, this is the reality. Please listen to me careful. You are not going to attain enlightenment. Okay? It's not going to happen. You're not going to become a stream winner. You're not going to become a sotapanna or a sakadagami. It's not going to happen. Now, if you want it to happen, divorce your wife, send your kids to your uncle and your auntie, sell your house, get a visa to India, and go and live in a cave in the Himalayas. Then maybe, that's possible. But if you've got a job and a house and a family and work obligations, and you're watching K-pop Korean dramas on the television, okay, you're not going to become enlightened. It's as simple as that. There is a thing which I call the wisdom of the body. And the wisdom of the body is that your body knows what it needs. You don't have to always tell it. So for example, if you don't have enough salt, you will have a craving for salt. If you don't have enough water in your system, you'll feel thirsty and you'll look around for some liquid to drink. When women get pregnant, they want to eat all sorts of funny things, isn't it? Isn't it? You're not pregnant yet. Okay. They have, what's that called in Indonesia? Idam. Okay. Why does that happen? Because a new life is growing in your body and it needs certain vitamins or minerals, and your body knows what it needs, so it gives you the craving, and then you eat lots of mangoes, or you eat whatever it happens to be. Green tea ice cream or whatever. And people, your husband thinks, my wife's finally gone crazy, she wants to eat all this stuff. But that's what your body knows. Now you mentioned that your friend is very weak and very ill, but he hasn't died yet. And I would say the reason for that is the body isn't ready yet. When the time comes and one by one the organs shut down and stop functioning, then he will pass away. So I don't think it's anything to do with any magic or strong determination. It's what I would call the wisdom of the body. Anyway, that's what I think. Please think about that. And also, I hope your friend gets better. I hope he or she eventually recovers. But we have to leave that to the doctors, and I would say the wisdom of the body. Okay? Okay? No?
Para dokter sudah tidak sanggup untuk menyembuhkan karena dia sudah sangat lemah sekali, tapi keluarganya juga bingung bagaimana untuk mengatasinya, Bante.
Okay. Oh, I see. Is the person still conscious?
Masih sadar,
Okay.
masih bisa bicara, masih bisa menjawab, tapi tubuhnya sudah kaku. Sudah kaku, tinggal kulit kembalu tulang, tidak bisa gerak.
Okay.
Cuman kepalanya sama tangannya masih bisa.
Well, I don't think the family needs to be confused, because you can't kill the patient. The patient is still alive. So what you have to do, or what has to be done, is to look after them and maintain their bodily functions and what have you, until the body is ready to let go. I can't see what else you can do. Okay? This is what I think. Sometimes people have told me their old mother or their old father is very sick and they are looking after them at home. And it's quite a strain to have to give them food, and then they go to the toilet in the bed, you have to clean it up, or they get sick and you have to clean up all this. And it's not easy, it's a challenge. But I always think, or I always ask people, just remember that once your mother did that to you. When you were 1 year old and you pooed in your pants, your mother didn't get angry, or maybe she did, but she kept her anger down. And when you put the food in the baby's mouth and the baby goes, it's all out. Your mother and your father looked after you, they cleaned up your mess, they washed you, etc. They did that for you, And now it's your duty, your obligation, now that they can't look after themselves, to do that to them. Is it easy? No, it's not. But this is how one way that you can repay the people who have done so much for you. So I would ask your friends to consider that and look after this patient until such time as the body lets go. Okay, anything else? Right.
I'd like to know about your thoughts and opinion about suicidal individuals and how to deal with them.
Suicide and?
Suicidal individuals.
I see, okay.
Thank you.
Why are you interested in that?
A friend I barely knew, a person I chat with online, she or he make threats of suicide all the times, and
okay.
It's really pitifying to see her.
It is.
Like that. So I'd like to know how to deal with them and to make them quit out of that.
And do you know why this person feels like they want to commit suicide?
No, not
Right.
really.
Have you asked them?
It seems that they have a lot of problems at once, but I think that even that a person with that much problem shouldn't resort to suicide.
Mm-hmm. Okay. People commit suicide for a wide variety of reasons.